I wanted to share what I think could be useful for you regarding video calling when it comes to the GrandCare technology. And first thing I'll mention is that our customers use this primarily because they want to connect the person who is using the touchscreen with somebody remotely, and that connection improves the quality of life, generates outcomes for the individual. In your case, it'll be the member who is at the residence, connecting that member to, first of all, yourselves, the remote staff, but then also to other people that might be useful for them to be in touch with. Could be family, could be friends. In some cases, it could be other professionals, perhaps a physician. I'm not entirely sure who you will want to connect with them, but this platform allows you to connect with someone remotely with video and with audio. And as you can see, the touchscreen is a relatively large screen. And so it's not a tiny screen, but you can see the person there in this particular example with a large image. And from the member's perspective, being at the touchscreen, it's just a few touches, one or two touches, and all of a sudden they're in touch with the other person on the other side who is receiving the video call from the member. So this is the view from the touchscreen itself after the member touches the video call button on the left-hand menu. The member sees a list of people who have been given access, authorized access to make video calls with the member. And so for this other reason, it is protected. It's a secure experience. It's not just anyone and everyone who can connect with the member from this platform. And that authorization is given by your organization to whomever you deem appropriate. And so the member can also receive calls on the touchscreen, in addition to making calls out from the touchscreen. And so these will also be from authorized individuals who have access to the portal. And so in other words, from users, GrandCare users. And this particular image shows how the incoming call comes to the touchscreen, and it gives the member an option whether they want to take the video call or whether they want to ignore the video call. And some organizations may opt to require that an image be placed there on the bottom right. And the way that you get your image put on there is by putting a profile picture in your user profile. When you're logged into the portal, you have the option to edit your user profile and add not just your first and last name or even your phone number, but a profile picture. And that's what would show up there on the bottom right. And that could, in some cases, be a more friendly interface, seeing that face there for the member. And I mentioned that the portal user is the one that can make video calls to the touchscreen. And here I'll use the example of the remote support staff. So I'll refer to the staff. In this case, we're able to make the call from a desktop or laptop computer by accessing the portal that we're now familiar with, that we walk through in some small way. Here I have a fictional member named Raymond Babbitt. And in addition to being able to make the calls from your laptop or your desktop, you can also use mobile devices. So for Android mobile devices, the experience is going to go through your internet browser. And so if you go to your portal and log in to your portal through your internet browser on the Android device, then once you get into the portal, you can go to a particular touchscreen, the account view page for that touchscreen, and there you'll see the video call button in orange, just like you would if it were on a laptop or desktop. You could do the same thing getting onto an internet browser on an Apple or an iOS device. But there's a little bit of history with the iOS device and GrandCare video calls, and that in the past, the iOS device didn't support a particular technology that we required for video calling from mobile devices. And so we developed a special app that's available on the App Store called the GrandCare app. You can just search for it on the Apple App Store called GrandCare. And it's not a full out portal. You won't see all the functionalities that you would see in a portal if you were to access it on a browser, but it does have video calling. So you can see there on the right-hand side that one of the things that you can do is make a video call from the GrandCare app. And so that's available for iOS devices. And you can also send messages and share photos from the iPhone or the iOS device this way as well. So it's more for communication, the iOS GrandCare app. Any mobile device that wants to do video calling, it will, the first time that you try to do it, ask you for permission to access the mobile device's camera and microphone. And it's a quick pop-up. Sometimes it's easily dismissed. Somebody might inadvertently click don't allow for either of these. And there is a way to restore or to actually grant camera permissions if someone's accidentally denied it. But if you're assisting family members, for instance, who are getting started with the app, then even not with just the app, but even the browser on a mobile device, then it could be helpful to make sure that they know this step, especially if they're not 100% tech savvy. And so those are the ways that you can make video calls to and from the portal and the touchscreen. And so when you're a staff member and you have access to the portal, one of the things that you can do inside the portal is look at data related to video calls. So someone's making a call to me right now in the back. That's all right. And this particular screen is on the account view. And so if you're looking for a touch screen that video calls have been made to, in this particular case, Raymond's bedroom touchscreen, you go to that particular account view page, and then you select the data tab there at the top, the third tab. If you want to take a look at that, you can do that right now. And once you're in the data tab, just scroll down and select from the different data types, check out the caller ID data. And there you'll see the video calls that were made to and from the bedroom touchscreen to portal users, along with the person. In this case, I've named my user remote support. That's just what I did, but you don't have to do that in your particular case. And so you could use your first and last name, whatever your convention is within the organization. And there you can see the time, the date, and also the duration. The word metacall is an archaic term that was referring to GrandCare's video call feature in the past. And so that's all that's referring to there. And at the same time, as while you have this ability to look at the account data in the portal, if for whatever reason you wanted to generate a report, a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet, you could do that. You would just go into the data tab again, but instead of going to caller ID log, there's an orange button called reports that you can click. And from the list of possible report topics, you can select one or more of these options. And one of the options is video call log. And so after setting the time period for which you would like the video call log data, then you can generate a report. And what you see on the right-hand side is more or less an example of what kind of data you would see. And so that's the type of data there, time and who it was. And so video calling is meant to be a straightforward experience for the portal user, and especially the the member who is using the touchscreen. And so what we'll go through now are a couple of what ifs that you might encounter while you are using the video calling feature, or when you're working with the member or the member's family when they're trying to do video calling amongst themselves. And these are some functionalities that are available to address those what ifs. The first what if that we'll consider is internet outage, which can happen from time to time, perhaps at a resident's location. And if a member is used to making video calls for a specific time or for a specific situation, and there's an internet outage, what happens? Well, if there is an internet outage, then the touchscreen will tell the member that the internet is not connected and that video calling is not available. That way, the member, when the member touches the video call button, is not frustrated for having touched the name of a person, not being able to understand why the video call is not going through. There is an explanation here of exactly what's happening. And you can almost see there on the bottom right-hand corner that there's a little red icon, which some of you may recall has to do with the internet being down. But very often the member may not know exactly what that means. So here it is very explicitly telling them that the internet is not connected, and that's why the video calling is unavailable. And as an organization, different organizations have different ways of handling how to manage a internet outage and how to reach the member in those kinds of situations. Very often that internet outage will be accompanied by a notification that is sent to a member of the organization who is in charge of keeping track of systems being up and down and off. And that internet situation could be resolved that way. And so what happens if you are, for whatever reason, as a staff member, unable to take a member's incoming call? So the member, in this case, does have an internet connection, the touchscreen is up, and you are either not at the portal, not logged in, or maybe you are at the portal and you are logged in, but you're currently tending to something else, perhaps another video call with somebody else, and you're occupied, and then a member tries to make a call to you at that same time, a second call. First of all, the touchscreen is going to tell the member that the reason why the call didn't go through is because it was not answered. And that at the same time, however, the person that you tried to call, which in this fictional case is myself, who I have named myself remote support. In your case, it could be the name of a person, has been sent a message that you called. And so somebody has been notified on the other end that you tried to call them. And so that the member knows that and clicks OK. On the portal side, what the staff person receives is a notification. That notification, first of all, is a little badge on the left-hand side, in this case, the number 1. So it's a colored number that presents itself on the left-hand menu, showing that there's one notification for you to look at. At the same time, there's a chime that will play in the portal to let you know that, hey, there's a notification for you to take a look at. And if you were to click My Profile, and then to switch to the Notifications tab within My Profile, then you would see exactly what that notification is. And in this case, it's a missed call from the Raymond's bedroom touchscreen. And you could click on this notification and it would take you straight to Raymond's bedroom account page where you can make the video call from there if you choose to do that. At the same time, every user of the portal has an option to receive what's known as a missed video call text message. It's an optional thing. And the way that you can get there, if you want to take a look at this right now in your own portal, is to click on My Profile on the left-hand side. And once you're in your profile, you can edit your profile, click that orange button, and scroll down to your cell phone number And right next to your cell phone number, there will be a checkbox that says, text me when I miss a video call. And that checkbox requires that there be a cell phone number entered there on the left field. And so both of those things are required for you to be able to receive text messages if you miss a video call from somebody who's trying to reach you at a touchscreen. On your mobile device, let's say your phone, your iPhone in this example, your missed call text would look just like any other text. And so here on the lock screen, it's showing that I received a text message from the GrandCare notification system and that it's about a missed video call. And in particular, it's from this particular touchscreen, Raymond Ray Babbitt. If you were to go into your phone and click on that text message, you would have the ability to, number one, make the video call from a link to the website or that particular account's page. It would take you straight to that account's page where you could click the red, or rather the orange video call button. Do it that way. Or if you're on an iOS device, you could use, of course, your iOS app to call back this person when you want to call this person back. And when you check off that checkbox, text me when I miss a video call, what that automatically allows you to be is persistently always on the video call list for this person. And so this touchscreen, in this particular touchscreen, you see some people who have a green dot next to them, and some who don't have a green dot next to them on their name to be touched. All these people have been given the ability to video call, to receive video calls from this touchscreen account. Some of them are logged in. The ones who are currently logged in are green, have the green dot there. The others are not logged in, but they have that checkbox, text me when I miss a video call. So you could still, as a member, touch that person's name, and that person won't receive the call, but will receive the missed call text. And so if you have that checkbox checked, then for receiving texts for missed video calls, you can be like this person who shows up on a video call list, even though this person's not logged in. So that's one what if. Another what if is when the video call comes into a touchscreen, there's a certain amount of time by default that the touchscreen will ring before the call ends and the member is deemed to have not answered the video call. But perhaps there are some members that we've encountered who require more time to answer that video call, perhaps because they have mobility challenges. And so in those particular cases, what you can do is you can go into the account for that particular touchscreen. Let's say Raymond's bedroom touchscreen. You could edit that account and then scroll down to the video call settings. And once you scroll down to the video call settings and click on that, you'll see something called ring seconds, which again, by default is 30 seconds, but which you can change to a higher number, giving that member more time to reach the touchscreen before the video call ends. This particular what if is not really theoretical. It actually has happened. And so this functionality was born out of a user need, in that it was discovered that there were some clients or members or individuals who would struggle with boundary issues and call their staff members even at odd or inopportune times. And so what happens in this particular situation, and I phrase this as after hours, if you want to control when video call is available to a particular member's touchscreen, then you can go into that same edit account under video call settings, and instead of changing the ring seconds, you could just scroll down a little bit more and see what's called the available start time and the available end time. And the time, that window that you put in here, is going to be the window that the member is able to make video calls. So in this particular case, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. If the member is at the touchscreen and touches the video call button outside of this window of availability, then the member will see something like this. Video calling is not available right now. And then it'll explain when that member can make video calls. And so that member understands that there is an ability to make video calls, just not right now. And this window of availability is an optional thing. You don't need to have a window. You can just make it available throughout the entire day. But if you do want to limit it to something, that's how you would do it. And what if, in some cases, a member needs additional volume for video calls? And this additional volume situation theoretically is not just for video calls. It could be for things such as chimes as well. When we start getting into things like to-do reminders and medication prompts, this will come into play as well. But since we're talking about video calls, and video calls do have sound, what do we do in this case? Well, the touchscreen is an all-in-one personal computer, and it's got a headphone jack in the back. It's the little icon that looks like headphones. And so you could, if you wanted to, try to connect an external speaker set to the touchscreen through that headphone jack. You could see it here, a little headphone jack connection. In this particular example, this is not the only example of a speaker that could work with the touchscreen. This is just one that has been recommended in the past, but you can feel free to experiment with a speaker that the member already has or has recently purchased in this particular situation. The other cable, I believe, is for power. That's why this one has a second cable USB connection. You could also connect it to the back of the touchscreen for power. So that's an option for more volume. Okay, now here's an interesting scenario. So supposing that you are in remote support and you've got your portal open. I'm showing a internet browser, Chrome in this case, that has two tabs open. One of them is the portal. But then supposing you want to do some work during that time here, like I have in this particular example, you open another tab. Some of our organizations have experienced that while they're working on this primary tab, which is non-GrandCare, which is not the portal, that the tab for the portal will fall asleep. And this happens in Chrome sometimes. So for Chrome, that's made by Google. And so that's made by an organization that may or may not have any particular interest in changing its software for our particular use. And so you encounter this situation where it puts to sleep certain tabs. And all of a sudden, if a video call were to come through that asleep tab, it wouldn't make a noise on your computer. It would be silent. So this happens for some people under browser tabs. And so for that, we have developed an application that you can download onto your desktop or laptop called the On-Call Client. And the main purpose of this On-Call Client is to be ever present and to never fall asleep. So it's not just a tab on your browser. It's something that you would run on your computer very often while you are trying to do something else, like go on a website or work on a Word document. You don't have to be concerned that you won't hear that ring because this on-call client will make sure that you can hear that ring. What I'm showing here is the application, an example of the application being downloaded onto a computer. It's a link that we would provide to anyone who is interested in the on-call client. And then you would run that application to install it onto your desktop or laptop. And then on the right-hand side, what you would see is what the on-call client looks like. It's just a very simple interface, primarily used for video calls. And you'll have your list of accounts there. And then this is what it would look like if you were to receive a call from that particular touchscreen. And if you were to try to install it on, for example, a Windows computer, it will ask you some things, most likely. And so these are expected things. It would just run it anyway and allow access to it just from experience. This is what you might encounter trying to execute that installation file. But once you do get it onto your touchscreen, or I'm sorry, your computer, the on-call client is on your desktop installed or your laptop, then you could have that tab somewhere else hidden, and you'll be working on something else in the foreground, whether looking at another website or working on an Excel spreadsheet, and you would be guaranteed to hear that ring. And then you would even see a little taskbar icon flash, but for sure you would hear that ring. And if you were to click that little icon, then you would get what's there on the right-hand side, the opportunity to answer that call through the on-call client. And so really the on-call client, its main purpose is to be ever present and to never be put to sleep by Google Chrome or any other application that could potentially put your browser tab to sleep.